Now, and what could be good news for firms that have pumped in billions of dollars for developing a COVID vaccine? A team of Australian researchers led by an Indian-born scientist has shown that the recent mutations in the SARS-CoV-2 virus will not adversely affect these potential vaccines. To talk more about this and explain more about the mutations and the possible impact or not on the vaccine, we're now joined by Professor Vasan, who leads the COVID preclinical responses at Australia's science agency, CSIRO, and has made a number of breakthroughs. Thank you so much for joining us on the show today. First and foremost, now you're an expert on how this virus is evolving. We're hearing a lot about, the mutations of coronavirus. There are reports that it's mutated in various parts of the world, and also about a new strain called a new G strain. Should we be worried?
So it's natural for the viruses to mutate, and the earlier version of the virus is known as the D strain. And currently, the more dominant version of the virus is known as the G strain, and it's present in 85% of the sequences from around the world and 82% from India.
So why is it that people worry about whether vaccines will still work against the G strain?
So the novel coronavirus has spike proteins which gives it distinctive appearance, and most of the 321 vaccine candidates in development target this spike protein, and indeed were developed with the earlier version of the virus sequence, or the D strain. So naturally the question would arise is, if the virus has mutated, will the vaccines and therapies still work against the newer D strain of the virus? So this is what our research has been focused on.
So tell us more about your research. What have you found? Will it affect the vaccines?
So the short answer is it doesn't appear that the vaccines will be affected. So that's good news. We don't have to go back to the drawing board. And we have, for the first time, shown this experimentally, as well as used computer modeling to further back up our conclusions. And this has been peer-reviewed and published in one of the Nature journals called Vaccines.
Can you elaborate on this study a little more? Just, how did your team find this out? If you could explain that to us.
So you've interviewed me before, so you are aware that we are the first in the world to show that ferrets are susceptible to SARS-CoV-2. And we've used this model to do preclinical evaluation of leading vaccine candidates. And so we had access to ferret sera, and so we were able to show that the antibodies in these sera can neutralize both versions of the virus equally well. So this is also backed up by various biomolecular modeling that we have performed using our high-performance computing division known as Data 61.
All right, so great news for vaccines and the vaccine development. Now, you did mention how there are 321 vaccines in development currently. And what is your estimate? Will we soon have a vaccine?
In the last count by CEPI, the Coalition for Epidemic Preparedness Innovations, there are 321 vaccines in development, 9 of which they have been funding. And the WHO estimates that of these, 193 are in various stages of preclinical or clinical evaluation. So there is no paucity of efforts going on around the world, and it will only be a matter of time that we will soon be having a vaccine.
All right, well, we're all hoping for that vaccine sooner than later. So just explain that a little further to us. Why do most vaccines target the spike protein where you say that this mutation takes place?
Majority of the vaccines target the spike protein because it binds to what we call ACE2 receptors in the lungs and airways. So effectively, they are the entry point into the cells.
All right, Professor Vasan, thank you so much for speaking to us here at NDTV.
Thank you.